Hello and welcome to Breakfast for Pancakes. I'm your host, PK Sullivan. Today I'm going to show you how to make the best pudding you have ever had. You can do it at home and it is dead simple. Traditionally, this is called Pot de Crème. It is a French custard, and if you remember, a custard is just a dish that has been thickened with eggs. This is a sweet custard. It is cream, egg yolks, and sugar that then get flavored with additional add-ins. Today we are doing chocolate and lemon. Like I said, this recipe is dead simple. It's just 5 ingredients for the chocolate pot de crème and 6 ingredients for the lemon. Historically, this has been a very tricky dessert because it had to be baked very carefully in an oven with lots of steam. You were using a water bath, and it was very easy to dry it out or overcook it. However, using modern technology, one of my favorite bits of kitchen gear, the sous vide, we're going to cook it to a perfect consistency with no chance of messing it up. We're still going to start on the stove just because we need to get some processes going before we put it in the sous vide, but once it comes off the stove and actually goes to do the final cook so that it sets up into a beautiful, thick, almost fudgy-like custard, it's basically foolproof at that point. As long as you don't lose electricity, you'll be fine. You want your chocolate to be a pretty dark chocolate, 65 to 70% dark chocolate. You want to bring the bitter chocolate flavors, the earthy notes from the chocolate bar. The sweetness can come from the sugar that we add ourselves. If you try using a milk chocolate, it won't melt correctly, and a sweeter chocolate just doesn't quite work as well because it doesn't have the oomph to stand up to the sugar that we need when we whisk the egg yolks. This is a great make-ahead recipe. It's something that needs to cool overnight in the fridge anyway, so if you make it the day before your party, it will be ready to serve when you have guests over. Ingredients for chocolate pot de crème: cream, dark chocolate, egg yolk, sugar, salt. In a medium bowl, combine your egg yolks, sugar, and salt. Whisk until smooth and the yolks have taken on a pale color. Doing this takes a lot of work. I'm going to put it on fast forward just so that we can speed through it. You'll know you're done when you lift your whisk and the egg yolks run out in a fine ribbon. At this point, you can set it aside and move to the stove. In a medium saucepan, add your cream and chocolate. Turn on the heat and set it to medium. Once the chocolate begins to melt, you'll want to whisk fairly continuously. At this point, you're basically making a really rich hot chocolate. What you want to do is make sure that the chocolate is fully emulsified and mixed into the cream. Use an instant read thermometer to make sure that your chocolate cream mixture doesn't go above 160 degrees. You want the chocolate to be fully melted into the cream and for the mixture to be somewhat warm, but you don't want it to be at the temperature at which the eggs will cook. If you need to let the mixture cool for a little bit, that's just fine. The eggs will start to cook and curdle at about 165 to 167 degrees, so make sure that you keep it under 160 and there's no room for error. Add the cream and chocolate mixture to your egg yolks and then whisk to combine. Make sure that you get a smooth and even texture. Then pour the custard through a fine mesh strainer. You want to do this because there will be bits of the egg that haven't whisked together cleanly, and those will leave lumps in the final custard. Passing it through a fine mesh strainer ensures that the final pudding is silky smooth. Use a slow motion shot to pour your pudding into prepared jars. Then wipe the rims. Apply your lids and bands and drop them into your water bath. The water bath should be sitting at 162 degrees Fahrenheit. Remove the puddings after 90 minutes. Cool the jars in the fridge overnight. Ingredients for lemon pudding: 2 lemons, zested and juiced for 100 milliliters. 120 grams of sugar, split into 40 gram and 80 gram amounts. 7 egg yolks, salt, and cream. Start on the stovetop. Add the lemon juice, lemon zest, and sugar. Turn your pot onto medium heat. Whisk to combine and bring to a boil. What we're doing here is creating a lemon simple syrup. The juice will bring tartness and the lemon zest will provide the big lemony flavor we're looking for. Sugar adds sweetness and body to the syrup. Cook until it is reduced by about half. You'll want to stir fairly frequently just to ensure that nothing sticks to the bottom of the pot and burns. Once the syrup is taken on a rich yellow color, remove it from the heat and set it aside to cool. Working smarter this time, add your egg yolks, the remaining sugar, and the salt to a small vessel. Use a hand mixer to whisk them together. This saves you a lot of time and effort. We're looking for a smooth consistency, a pale yellow color, and thin ribbons that stream through the whisk when you lift it out. In a medium bowl, combine your egg yolks and cream. No need to heat the cream as we're not melting anything into it. Stir to combine. Once thoroughly mixed, add your lemon syrup. Stir to combine. Don't worry about the bits of zest, you'll be filtering those out in the next step. Speaking of the zest, it clogs up a fine mess strainer a lot more than anything in the chocolate. After realizing that your handheld fine mess strainer isn't up to the task, go get a super bag and filter it through there. Don't squeeze your super bag. That's only going to force the bits through the mesh and back into the dish. Instead, use a rubber spatula and gently scrape the outside. That will pull the liquid out and leave you with a silky smooth final product. Add the teaspoon of vanilla extract that you forgot to list in the ingredients montage and whisk to combine. This pudding is ready for the sous vide. Just like with the chocolate pudding, pour it into jars, wipe the rims, add the lids and bands, and then give it a good bath for 90 minutes at 162 degrees Fahrenheit. Once the bath is over, retrieve your jars and set aside to cool for 8 hours or more. Our chocolate pudding has been in the fridge overnight. It has set up beautifully. It is firm and luscious and beautiful. Now it's time to taste. It is just super thick, rich, ooey gooey. It really is almost but not quite fudge. So tasty, so close to just pure decadence. This is a wonderful dessert. It's not just for kids. It's something even adults will enjoy. When I have a party, I will do a double batch in 4-ounce jars that makes 20 little pots de crème, little individual servings. You can top it with whipped cream. It's utterly delightful. For a different presentation, dust small scoops of the pudding with a mix of cocoa powder and cayenne. I like the cayenne. It just sort of wakes up the dish a little bit more than eating it straight or just using some whipped cream would. Of course, if you wanted to have a spicy chocolate pudding, you could always use cayenne in the base recipe. That would work just. Now let's try the lemon pot de crème. It has a lighter texture. It doesn't stick together as much. Very lemony. This reminds me of key lime pie. It's very acidic, very bright. This would go great in pie form, I think. You could do a lemon pudding pie using this recipe and a graham cracker crust. That would be wonderful. I think that's what I'll do with it next time. Change up the presentation, have a little bit of fun with it, and make an awesome dessert. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. This week's shout out goes to my friend Phil. I hope you enjoy that chicken you're making.